Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So here we are, Wednesday hump day. So being Wednesday, Rafa was here still, so those of you that are new here, the other restoration mechanic that I work with, other than myself, Rafa, he's here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm here always approximately, and anyway, so let's see, we'll start off with what Rafa did today here. So on this beautiful 63 mouse gray bus, finally went ahead and put together the driver's side door. So we still had to press the glass into the vent wing frame and then assemble it onto the window frame and then put the entire window frame assembly onto the door. And luckily, unlike the passenger side, which we had to have our very talented paint and body guy do a lot of magic on this door to get it to close once the window frame and stuff went in. That side pretty much very cooperative, closed really nice right off the bat. So Rafa went ahead and put the seals on it and everything, the door to body seals and stuff like that. And then went ahead and put on the door panel. And yeah, I think this side door panel's on already too. So yeah, the interior of this one is coming right along. All the windows are in it now. The other thing he did was he put in the two fixed windscreens, windshields, whatever you want to call them. This bus was not equipped new with pop-outs, or excuse me, safari windows. So the owner decided to just roll with it. That's how it came. So no safaris. Looks good though. It's a clean look. And other than that, Rafa did a little bit of wiring on this one up underneath the dash there, wiring in the turn signal indicator, which you can see there, and the flasher unit, which you can see down there. And I think that is about it. Our paint and body guy was going to get to this today. If you're not sure what's going on here, check yesterday's video and you'll hear me explain what's going on. But yeah, probably paint and body guy will do something tomorrow with this and paint over it and you won't even notice it. So that is about it for this beauty for today. This beauty got a little bit of attention today. So this is the 64 Beetle that we did a complete restoration, very high-end restoration, every nut, bolt, everything imaginable on this car restored. Finished the car in October, but still had some other details that we wanted to improve. One of which was putting door panels on it with the correct heat pressing. The door panels that we had on before still had these lines in, but they were stitched in, which isn't correct, although it looked really nice. But again, on a restoration of this caliber, we like to do things as correct as possible. Anyway, so that's just one of the things the car was in for. What I did today was mostly played around with the radio. So I mentioned that we installed this thing called a Ready-Rad. You can look it up. Again, sadly, I don't know that they're still being manufactured, but allows you to hook a audio source like a cell phone or a disc player, MP3 player, whatever, up to the radio. You tune the radio to AM 1000, and then it ignores the antenna and takes the input from that device. And so, let me go ahead and show here. So we went ahead and put, well, I'll have to do something about that. Okay, well, may have to do a little adjustment there so that comes open and a little easier. Anyway, so this is pretty much what we do. So the Ready-Rad itself has this type of connector on it. And so I actually have one of these Ready-Rads, which is hidden on the other side of this dash here. Anyway, so I have one of these on my 56 convertible, the black one. And so this is actually the one out of it. So it's just inexpensive. I think these things are 12, 15 bucks on Amazon. And it's just a little Bluetooth receiver. And it has an input that takes this type of headphone jack. And so basically that's it. So again, when you want to play from your cell phone, you just turn this thing on. Of course, it has to be paired with your cell phone. Dial the radio to 1000 and then boom, whatever you're streaming through Bluetooth on your on your phone will magically come through this one tiny little speaker here through, like a, I don't know if this thing has vacuum tubes in it. I don't really know that much about electronics of that age, but very old radio and a single speaker. So it has a very, very retro sound. Anyway, so played around with that today and got it all sorted out. And there is a little bit of radio noise from the engine on this car, and it doesn't really seem to do it, oddly enough, when you're playing through this setup. However, I did order a little filter that goes on the power input of the radio here that hopefully will get rid of any last bit of engine noise from the car, just in case he wants to listen to an AM station. I don't know if there's any AM stations worth listening to. Have a feeling he's mostly going to be streaming from his phone. I ordered him one of these identical to this. Again, this one's mine, but just trying things out today. Yeah, so played around on that some. The car somehow today when I started had a clogged idle jet, so took care of that too. The idle jets have about a 0.5 millimeter orifice in them, and it doesn't take much. But anyway, so that was, I think, it for this beauty today. So let's talk about this beauty. We just got beauties all over the place here. So if you saw the thumbnail today, you know that the suspension is out. And this car, as beautiful as it is on top and inside and everything, it wasn't, the sort of undercarriage of the car wasn't necessarily restored. Pretty original looking, like it hasn't been redone. But, it's under the car. You don't really see it unless you, say, pull the gas tank out or climb under the car. So it was a bit grimy under there, but managed to get out the complete front suspension, the master cylinder. Of course, he's putting huge brakes on here, so it'll get a big dual circuit master cylinder. And here I can show you guys the front end. So pretty grimy, and drum brakes and stuff like that, and overspray from previous paint jobs. No big deal. And let me show you one thing I found that was a little bit unexpected. But not a big deal. And that is that whoever last installed a master cylinder in this car apparently didn't know that there's supposed to be, if I can get some light here, that there's supposed to be spacers. So you can see there's an inner and an outer wall there with that hole where the master cylinder bolts. And so the bolts go through both of those walls from inside the car to the threaded body of the master cylinder on the outside. But there's supposed to be a little sleeve in between those two walls that keeps those walls from crushing when you tighten the bolts down. Well, whoever put this together last didn't know that, maybe. I don't know. And so the bolts were kind of crushed, or kind of pulled into there. It was actually very hard to get them out because they were kind of sucked into the metal, if that makes sense. So I got those out, and when I put it back together, of course I will do it with the little sleeve, so you can see a couple of them right there. So it'll go back together, no problem. But just something a little surprising that I found. But again, not a big deal. I'll probably straighten the metal out there a little bit, especially on that one on the left. It was really kind of bent up looking right there. But once the sleeves go in, it'll be perfectly fine. So that was a little surprising, but not a big deal, like I said. Oh, I just almost killed myself. Okay, tripping over that. So let's see. So the Probuilt beam from Air Cooled. We don't really trust anyone else's work, and so this is in no way aimed at Air Cooled or anyone else. We're the ones putting the car together, all of these cars for that matter. And so, something like brakes or suspension or something, we really prefer to do it or check it ourselves. And so even though this beam was completely assembled, basically spindle to spindle or whatever you want to call it, rotor to rotor. I took it apart anyway because that's what we do. And I found something a little concerning. And what that is you can see, so this is obviously one of the trailing arms. So these are what go into here and rotate, and then your steering knuckles attach on these and so on and so forth. Anyway, so these ride in a bearing or bushing located about there and about there. And so I guess when they build these beams, they source used trailing arms, and these had some pretty significant wear on them. So 2 of the 4 arms on the inner bearing or bushing surface wore pretty bad. And so you can see this one here, I marked it, it's probably hard to read, 6,000. So that's how much it's undersized relative to the spec in the Bentley manual, which of course is the Bible for these cars. So yeah, kind of a pretty ugly wear pattern and out of spec. So I left a message with the owner of Air Cooled, and I want to have a talk with him and see what he suggests here. I hope he's gonna do the right thing and send me a couple arms that aren't looking like they're wore out. So this is actually, of the 2 that are wore, this is the better of the 2. So that one is the let's see, that would be the driver's side lower one. On the other side, the lower one was okay, but then the upper one on the passenger side, you can see that same wear pattern, but actually quite a bit worse. Look at that, super ugly. And this one was 12 thou under again the spec right out of Bentley, the Bentley manual. And so you can see it's worn on like around half of the surface. So however, how this was loaded, I guess that was the side doing all the work, so to speak, as far as carrying the load is concerned. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not super thrilled about this. We'll see what he says and what he proposes to do. And if he says no, just use them, then I don't know. I may have to do another video about this because this is not cool as far as I'm concerned. What's going to happen is this ugly surface here is going to prematurely wear the bushings in there. And people aren't driving these cars 15, 20,000 miles a year like a modern car, but that's kind of beside the point where I come from. So we'll see what this dude says. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he will make it right, because that is fucking ugly. Excuse my language. Other than that, the beam is okay. It's pretty nice, I'd say. It uses pretty high quality hardware throughout, as far as I can tell. I did check when I pulled it apart that so on a link pin beam like this, there's shims that you put inner and outer to kind of account for the offset between the 2 mounting locations of where the link pin goes on the end of those arms. You have to shim it. And that side I was really happy with. This side I probably would have swapped one shim on one side, but it was probably in spec. It's just we're super anal, and I wasn't 100% happy with one of those, the way it was spacing. But I don't think it was enough that it would have caused any binding or anything. But I probably would have swapped one shim on, I think it would have been on the top. Anyway, other than that, the other thing I noticed about this beam, which generally speaking, I guess wouldn't be a big deal, but again, so as a lot of you may know, I'm an engineer by trade, spent many years engineering things, and so I think about things a lot. And so the hardware for mounting the shocks is this really nice looking flathead bolt. However, it spins freely in here. And especially on a narrowed beam, when it's mounted on the car, this is pretty much right against the body of the car. That's how you narrow it, is you kind of shove all this stuff in as far as you can get.
and make these shock towers out of, like thick sheet metal, essentially. So the body's going to be sitting right here. Well, guess what? There's no way to hold on to this if the body's right there. And so as far as I can tell, you have to install the shocks on here before you put the beam in the car, because there's no way to tighten this if you put the beam in the car first. And then furthermore, once the beam's in the car with the shock on it, I don't really see any way you can get the top shock bolt out, because it's just going to spin, because you can't get an Allen on there because there's the body. So that's pretty weird. But again, we'll see. I may mention it to him when I talk to him about the issue with these arms and see what his rationale is for that. Anyway, I didn't mean to make this like a bashing session or whatever, but you guys know I like to speak the truth about parts, and this is what I've seen so far here. So I will keep you guys for sure updated on whatever I find out about these questions that I have here on this air-cooled Probuilt beam, and let you guys know. Hopefully by the time I do this video tomorrow, I'll know more about what's going on with this. So that is it for today, guys. Pretty busy day in the shop here. So with that, I guess I will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.